It's over 9,000!
NANI?
Configure the language logic interface for Japanese.
Kawaii-Fi.
Kawaii-Fi.
Kawaii-Fi Radio.
Konnichiwa, and welcome back to part 2 of the autumn anime onslaught from Japan.
And
Feels
it
like-
is an onslaught to be reckoned with.
It certainly is. Well, we couldn't get through all of this season's anime in one single show. We knew it would be a bit too long, so we split it in two. This is part 2 of episode 19, and this is where we're going to look at the sequels, the returning shows, and the movies that are coming out in the next 3 months.
Let's get stuck right into it.
Ready
Because,
and raring.
I'm going to be shattered otherwise. Here we go.
That's a lot of anime.
Oh, there's so many.
No, I didn't watch them all. Autumn anime.
Yes, we have a comprehensively huge list of new stuff to look at.
Yes,
And
we
that
do.
said, we still have so much to watch that is just returning from last season.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, not even that. This is the sequels. This is shows that have already had a couple of seasons. In some cases, 3 or 4 seasons. And they're coming back to even more.
I kind of miss the days when a story can just kind of end.
But were those days ever in existence? I mean, think of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
That when the road went ever on and on.
it did. And then we kept getting more extended editions, and it got even more epic.
Yeah.
But that said, I'm not complaining. I want to
Oh,
know where the
no.
rest of these stories go.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
the first one, the biggest hitter that everyone's talking about this season, is Boku no Hero Academia Season 4.
Oh, the hype is real.
All I can say to this is yes, 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 yes.
Okay.
I think we're going back to wrestling now.
Yeah. Well, all I'm imagining is the I can't remember his name. He's the
Midoriya,
No,
All Might.
he's not one of the main characters. He's Present Mike, the guy who has the
yes.
microphone. That's his hero name, Present Mike. He's got the speakers and he's really loud, and in all of it's yeah. And stuff like that.
Related
looking
to Little John.
Yeah, apparently.
Poor
So,
little John.
if you haven't heard of My Hero Academia, also known by its romanization name, which is Boku no Hero Academia, this is a series which has generated a huge groundswell of support over the past 5 years. Well, the basic synopsis is one day, a 4-year-old boy came to a sudden realization the world is not fair. 80% of the world's population now wield special abilities known as quirks, which have given many the power to make their childhood dreams of becoming a superhero a reality. Unfortunately for Izuki Midoriya, was one of the few people born without a quirk.
Yeah, the poor thing, and he's so cut by it.
But
Yet
he makes
he
up for
ref- he refuses to give up on this dream.
He makes up for it by studying the heroes around him, looking at their quirks, their strengths, their weaknesses and stuff.
So he challenges and decides he's going to become a hero either way, learning all these things, determined to do the impossible. And he sets his sight on the elite hero training academy of UA High.
And he looks up to
The number one hero,
yeah.
All Might.
Yeah.
Now, a little meeting between
He's
the pair of them
powerful.
happens, resulting in All Might gifting him some of his power. That's where the story goes. We're not going to tell you what happens because, my lordy, you need to watch it.
Oh, it's amazing.
This was kind of riding on the success of, like, say, superhero genre stuff. It's been big and growing bigger in the last, like, 10 years or so.
Oh, it definitely has.
So, like, something like this, if you like your Marvel and your DC and your comic universe stuff, this is for you. It's not just for that as well. It's, you know...
There's so much in it for everyone. It's got such heart to it.
It's also, no character is underutilized. Every character is well developed and fleshed out.
Even the, like, joke characters,
Yeah.
they will, like, play a major role here and there, and it's just like, oh, you're so cool.
Well, the prime example was last season, Miss Joke and her relationship to Aizawa. It's just like, you know, okay, she's a character whose she's a hero whose literal gag is to make people laugh until they fall over. You know, it's like, okay. And of course, Aizawa, who's called Eraserhead is his hero name, he can stop any power being used, so she can never make him laugh. So it's a match made in hell. So season 4 will be airing October 12th. That's internationally. It's been delayed. It's a little bit, not as in like, you know, it's had a delayed start because of some issues. They purposely put it back to the 12th because this, if it follows the last 3 seasons, should be another 24 episodes.
Woohoo!
Which will be huge. And they're going to run for 23 minutes a pop, airing on Saturdays at 5:30 p.m. in the afternoon. Prime time in Japan, that.
Bring it on.
Mm-hmm. You can catch it on Anime Lab, Crunchyroll, and Funimation. Plenty more places will be lining up to say, hey, we've got it as well shortly after, I imagine. What I can say, because I have read the manga and I'm completely up to date, and holy cow, are we in for some epicness this season. Expect real losses, real challenges, and much higher stakes than the previous 3 seasons.
Looking forward to it.
It's going to be good.
I can't wait.
That takes us on to one which we saw earlier this year, which
Yes.
we weren't too sure on, but this actually looks like it's heading in an actual direction now.
Yeah, this is also set in a school. It's called Bokuben, which translates to "We Never Learn."
Yeah, it's...
Naruyuki Yuiga is in his last and most painful year of high school. In order to gain the special VIP recommendation, which would grant him a full scholarship to college, pretty big deal, he becomes a tutor for the 3 super geniuses of the academy. All 3 of them are girls.
I do wonder if technically all 3 of them are super geniuses. One's like, is being sports being a genius?
It's more like they are like the person in their field. One of them is like scientifically minded and a genius. One of them
got
is
science and literature, and then
sports. You'll be good at them.
Despite being completely clueless outside of their pet subject. So like Kenny was saying, they excel at their preferred subjects. Will they be able to pass the entrance exams to the school of their choice with Naruyuki's guidance? And entering the final stretch of studying before the entrance exams, could there be signs of love?
Now,
yes.
This is something which has always irritated me about these harem animes. And it's the fact that they just kind of hang on and 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 hang on. You get where I'm going with this. Nothing happens.
You know what? I like his character.
Yeah.
His character is different to what you'd see in... I mean, this is, by definition, technically a harem anime.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty standard stuff, but he seems very grounded.
Yeah.
If you actually have a look at the genres written right there, harem is one of them.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a mainstay of anime.
But Bokuben has been running as a manga for a few years now, before it even got its adaptation. And it was quite popular with the fan base, and a lot of the fan base, if you have a look on My Anime List, were quite angry at the adaptation, saying that it took out a lot of the important stuff in favour of just doing all the random silly things that happened.
We'll have to
Season 1 took way too long to find its stride. To be honest, I'm not even sure it did.
It was quite... It sort of seemed to plateau, didn't it?
It did.
Pretty much.
And then, rushed to the finish in the last couple of episodes. Season 2 will hopefully improve on that, and with the preview, it's showing there's some serious questions being asked of the main character about his relationship with these girls and how... their future might pull out. And I think that's, something we don't often see in these animes.
No, you don't. You actually don't. And it's something that I'm looking forward to seeing happen in this anime. Some more development, which also means that I do now want to read the manga as well. So you can catch this Mondays, 12:30 a.m. It runs for about 23 minutes each, likely about 12 episodes. And you can catch it on Anime Lab, Crunchyroll, Funimation, High Dive, and Wakanim.
Which is it's a decent amount.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
Now, we've
Spread
got to
quite
go to the
wide.
wonderful world of card games and possibly the origin of all of this mess.
You think so?
I think it is.
Yeah, after watching the trailer for this, I reckon we could be onto something there.
What is it?
This is called Chihayafuru. It's about a girl in the 6th grade. She's a transfer student from the rural Fukai prefecture.
Ooh.
She's quiet, she's subdued, but she has an unexpected skill. The ability to play competitive karata, a traditional Japanese card game. Now,
This looks bonkers.
oh yeah,
This is its 3rd season. This started, I think it was in like 2005, the first season of this.
I've never even heard of it.
Neither have I. And its art style and animation and movement look amazing.
Oh yeah, this looks like a lot has gone into this. This is
And this appears to be a traditional Japanese card game where you literally throw away your opponent's cards.
yeah, you smack them out of their way
Yeah,
with like
it looks-
grand gestures, and
It looks pretty dynamic.
I'm never going to
The
really
game.
get like traditional Japanese games. Go chess is a major mind trip for me. I gave it a try like a few times, but I'm just not cerebrally equipped for that sort of thing. It's
Oh, fair
not
enough.
my thing. But now I see this, I'm just like, oh my, is this the origin of like Yu-Gi-Oh and stuff?
I think this is more than just the origin of Yu-Gi-Oh. I think this game appears to be the origin of why all of Japan's card games have way over the top hand gestures and crazy hand movements in their animes.
So you reckon it has its roots in this game?
I really do. Because there's a whole... when I was doing research on the show, there's a video where I found on YouTube where the guy's showing the girl how to quickly knock the cards out and saying, this is the movement. Then you
There
see
must be
her...
a certain technique
You see
to it.
her later in purposely wearing specific clothes so she can move her arm in that movement very quickly and very, dynamically. And it's like, this is literally where they got the ideas for, I'm going to put the cards in front of my face and then I'm going to fling them out to the side and then I'm going to do the stars. And,
Yeah,
it's like, I think they just saw that and went, how can we make this wilder?
I have to wonder that maybe like things like this are also, there's also like deep-rooted origins for other things, like, the creepy guy
like the
glasses
Gendo
press up his
glasses
nose.
press and-
Or like things like that. This runs for 24 episodes. This airs on Wednesday at 1:30 a.m. You can catch it on Crunchyroll on October 23rd.
Okay, so, oh wow, so we actually got a few weeks into that first episode lands.
Yeah, but it's just like season 3, so we got to play catch up, I think.
Yeah. Well, I'm under the impression the previous... Well, we know it's 24 episodes as well, but I'm under the impression the previous 2 seasons are also 24 episodes. Whether this is our cup of tea, we'll find out once we have a look at it, but it's by Madhouse, and that's a very fitting company to be doing this, isn't it?
Totally.
Which brings us to something that kind of disappointed us a couple of seasons back. We're
A
not
little.
sure if it's improved or
It
not.
just didn't go anywhere after so much promise.
We are talking about Fairygon. Now, this is part 2. Like, it's been labelled as season 2, but it's the second core of the series, and this will be the end of it. It's an original work being brought out by PA Works, and it's going to run for 12 episodes to finish off the 12 episodes from the prior series.
It had this great aesthetic as well. It's like World War I kind of a setting, European, just like, the deep, dark, cold woods and Lovecraftian monsters mixed with like, turn of the century technology. This is my kind of thing.
It was very sort of Germanic steampunk, I'd say would be the connection for
yeah,
it.
with some crazy fairy magic thrown in. But
Now, if you haven't caught Fairygon, I'll give you the synopsis. So the story takes place in a world where fairies possess and dwell in animals, giving them mysterious abilities. And by removing the organs of a possessed animal and transplanting them into humans, fairies can be summoned as an alter ego and used as a weapon.
That is so messed up.
Yeah. Such individuals who use these fairies as tools of war were called fairy soldiers, and 9 years have passed since the war the fairy soldiers were created for. The protagonist, Maria, is a new recruit of Dorothea, an organization which investigates and suppresses fairy-related crimes, and she accidentally gets a fairy implanted into her completely naturally, not by actually, having an organ put into her. It just kind of joins with her, which is
she's
apparently
the chosen
first.
one,
Yeah,
or something like that.
Something like that. The problem is that the first 2 episodes spend a lot of time developing this really, interesting story. And then every episode after that felt disjointed.
It would like introduce characters and like kind of show them to be interesting, and then you'd never see them again. The main characters got no kind of development. There was a plot there, but it felt like it was like trudging at a snail's pace. It was disappointing.
Yeah, I was really taken by the concept because I thought that it would lead somewhere, or it already had led somewhere that I hadn't considered. But
I think the issue is that they were struggling to keep you interested in the character, and their solution for that was to quickly jump to a new area. Like, this isn't a game where you're leveling and you just go to the next area to level. Like, it's not that sort of progression.
No,
you need to
stay in the beginner's village and tell me more.
Yeah, build that attachment to the characters. And I think the big problem is you don't actually start caring about the characters. They're just there, and that's it.
Yeah,
and that's what you want.
I think I can actually figure out one chief way that it went wrong for me. So the start of it is the main character gets a fairy in her. And this thing comes out as her as like an avatar with glowing ember fists. It looks like a dryad. It's this wood creature, this queen of the fairies and air and darkness and nightmares. And it goes crazy and destroys 2 other things.
Yeah,
and
it's very powerful.
what's the main character's reaction to this? Nothing.
Yeah.
Like, she...
The thing is as well in the series is that when the fairy gets injured, the user gets injured as well. And while that happened, it just didn't feel
like it had impact.
Yeah, it felt it felt like several other animes we've seen where it's like, oh no, I've taken a mortal wound, but I'll be fine next episode.
Wrap some bandages on it.
Yeah, it's
Anime
fine.
logic.
Magic bandages.
Like, hand this to another studio and another director, and the second episode would probably be about the girl sort of psychologically dealing with the fact that she is now possessed.
Which I thought was, like, considering the colour choices they used for their palette, considering the style they've used for it, and
It's
the
grim
way the
and
characters
dark and-
interact,
yeah.
you'd think they'd look at the psychological part of it.
But no.
No, it's action, supernatural, magic, fantasy, and no psychological, no thriller, no drama even written into the script anywhere. And that's, I think, where it fails.
Kind of a damn shame. And I'm really hoping that the second season at least tries to redeem itself. Like,
Well, I mean, it does
gives
look
us a
like
bit
they're
more.
trying. So there's a girl who grew up in the village the main character was from, who went and disappeared and has now reappeared. But nothing happens with her in that first 12 episodes. Like, you see her in the first episode and that's it.
Yeah, it's like she's on the bad guy's side, but also on her own side and doing like sneaky things. And the main character's like, I found you at last. Let's be friends. No, I am the Sasuke of this series.
Exactly. It looks like the next 12 episodes from the preview trailer is meant to show the ending of that story. Because, to be honest, I don't think they can get another series out of this. I really don't.
Sad.
It is on Funimation and Wakanim. Please have a look if you haven't already seen it. Make up your own mind. And it airs on Monday nights, bang on midnight. So, the witching hour.
Let's move on to something a bit more fun.
Oh, well, this is something I will really like to talk about.
Yes, I think everyone will.
I'm going to double dip here and do two shows in a row. Watch out.
Oh, naughty.
This is Food Wars, Season 4. Now, I know I've been a bit harsh on some of the animes already that have got a pretty heavy eki content. Food Wars, while it does have an eki content every now and then, I find it does it in a very hilarious, comical way.
It's strange. It feels kind of organic.
And
It does.
It's not one particular gender.
No,
that gets kicked off
it's,
the eki. It's
you might be
everyone.
guys or girls. So, the synopsis for Food Wars, which is Shigeki no Soma. Ever since he was a child, 15-year-old Soma Yukihara has worked as the sous chef in the kitchen of his father's run and own restaurant. Soma develops a passion for entertaining his customers with his creative and skilled and daring culinary creations. His dream is to someday own his own family restaurant as its head chef. However, his father suddenly decides to close the restaurant and ship Soma off to Totsukai Culinary Academy, an elite cooking school where only 10% of the students graduate. The institute is famous for its shukikes, or food wars, where students face off in intense high-stake cooking showdowns, to the point that you could get kicked out of the school if you lose one.
I'm still convinced that this mad academy for culinary excellence is the origin of the Iron Chefs.
It's entirely possible.
It wouldn't surprise me.
I'd like to know if there was some sort of inspiration for this. Like, if there is a real brutal cooking school, I'm sure there are
Probably
plenty. But I want to, like, real brutal. Like,
Well, I do feel like one of the shows we talked about earlier in the show, which has made that comeback, I can't remember the one. It was the one about the cooking in China. I wonder if that was kind of the predecessor which sparked the idea in the writer's mind and went, what if I did this with a different twist in Japan instead?
That was Shinchuka Ichiban.
That's the one. Now, Food Wars Season 4 is going to be intense. Now,
you showed us today.
Yes, I did
think,
show you because
a panel.
I'm currently reading the manga, and the current arc I am in is what Season 4 is ending with. We do need to catch up on the anime, but the series is literally, as I said, where I am in the manga. And it's going to be amazing for character development, and the finale is going to be one of the biggest food fights of the series so far. It's going to be amazing. And it's really... You're starting to see a lot more character development for every single character. It's not, the cliche, we'll develop this character for a bit and then give up.
And it's not just, it's not like MasterChef where it's just like character drama and stuff like that. Even while it's cooking the food and it's showing you just amazing kind of, whoa, this food looks amazing. It's showing you a little of how it's prepared.
It's quite
giving
funny
you an
because
idea for
in the
how it's done.
manga, They have the recipes.
Oh yes.
I actually learnt a lot about this, the show and the manga and how it was written. They actually have a chef dedicated for this who goes and tests the recipes. They say, we want to make a recipe sort of like this. How does it work?
So next episode, we're going to be reviewing Kyle's first foray into one of these recipes.
Are we now?
Yeah, we're going to sit by and we're going to judge and we're going to see whether he's good enough to stay as the Kawaii-Fi anchor and whether he needs to give his position up to someone of a higher ranking.
Or is this going to be the challenge that we each present a recipe and one of us will judge it,
Well,
and whoever loses
I feel
becomes...
like because I came up with the idea, I need to judge it. So you can also, Kenny, you can make a recipe.
I see where this is going, Coco.
From this manga, just anything you want, and I will judge which one is the most worthy.
Will you now? This is just because you want to be fed, isn't it?
Why would you think
more?
all I want is
And all you need?
fairness.
All you want is a good pub feed?
All right, everyone, for context, Kyle hates the chats.
I
think
do.
they're great.
It's a band here in Australia.
He is very much not a fan. And
No.
Kenny, are you in the middle? Are you on the fence about the chats?
I've heard a couple of their songs. I'm into some weird music, so...
Anyway, moving right along.
Sing some sad ones.
Yeah,
he
I'm
doesn't
sure-
have
I'm-
enough
I'm sure
bus
they
money because he
do.
spent it.
Okay.
You can't get on the
okay.
bus.
Back to the
Kyle.
topic, food wars. And if you keep going on, I will turn your mic off.
Just cook me some.
Push the
And
censor
with
button.
that, she's been censored. So, anyway, Food Wars is airing on Saturday nights at midnight. You can catch it on Crunchyroll from the 11th October with JC staff looking after it. It's PG-13, runs for 23 minutes a pop, likely 24, 25 episodes. So,
Sitting in Kenny's seat.
oh, I don't know if that could happen. I mean, like right now, all I've got is NANI? I couldn't hear you. Your microphone's turned off. Oh dear. Anyway, I now have to turn your microphone back off because you've got the next one. So, Granblue Fantasy, please
Yeah,
enlighten us.
When I first saw this, I was like, "Is this the Granblue?
No, it is
The
not.
one I really like."
This
Sorry,
is a,
Coco.
guess what? This is a mobile game.
Yeah. Okay, so in a world where islands drift among the clouds, a boy named Gran and a talking winged lizard named Vern lived on the island of Zinkenstill. One day they come across a girl named Lyria, who had escaped from the Erst Empire, a military government trying to rule over the world. In order to escape from the Empire, Gran and Lyria head out into the vast skies, holding the letter Gran's father left behind. I will be waiting at Estalucia, a land of stars.
Now,
And this is Mappa Studio.
mm-hmm.
And Mappa have got a very good track record.
So while this might be based on a mobile game,
It looks great.
it
Yeah,
does.
it looks absolutely
This
stunning.
is
to
the
be
second
honest,
season. We did watch the first episode of season 1, which didn't get back to it because it's so busy.
Yeah.
which has grasped my attention.
But,
Mhm.
like, watching the trailer for this, they have airships and dragons and magic and swords. This is...
I want to know who Blue is, because I'm sure someone
I think it's
called
probably
Blue
the
is gonna
blue
rock-
sky. Gran in the blue sky. That's what I'm thinking.
Hang on, I just realised his name
Mm.
is what we call a grandparent.
Gran.
Right? Do we call
Granddad.
it Granny?
Granny.
Like Gran?
No, but, like, the
Like-
visual style for this takes me back to, like, Final Fantasy IX and stuff like that, which I loved as a kid. So... I
Look-
reckon I'm going to need to push this one forward on my list and just
Yeah.
binge it.
I agree.
I think it is one we need to have a look at. PG-13, set up from a game. I believe it's meant to be running for 12 episodes.
Yeah,
off the top
maybe
of the head.
I might
14.
need to check out the game.
Mhm.
Yeah, it runs for 23 minutes. Airs on Saturday night at 0 o'clock.
It's in midnight.
0 o'clock sounds cooler.
It sounds
Zero.
it sounds pretty edgy. Sounds like exactly what we'd expect of a Japanese edgy anime. You can catch that on Anime Lab, Annie Plus, Crunchyroll, Funimation, High Dive, and Wakanim. And that brings us to one we kind of felt a bit odd about last season. No, not last season. It was about almost a year ago, High School Girl, wasn't
Yes,
it?
actually, you are absolutely right. This is High School Girl Volume 2.
And oddly, this appears to be 5 years later. So that's
Like, the original takes place in 1991, of all places. And it's... Okay, so summary. Haruo Beastly Fingers Yaguichi rules the arcade gaming scene. But beneath his famous identity as a pro gamer is a plain 6th grader with an uneventful life. Neither popular, smart, nor athletic, he excels in only one thing, video games. Haruo would rather spend hours at the local arcade honing his gaming skills than to take his life and academics seriously. One day, Haruo meets his match in fellow classmate Akira Uno. Not only is she able to score a 29-game win streak, but she also manages to beat Haruo 7 times in a row. Eager to end her domination, Haruo duels Akira in Street Fighter 2, for all the nostalgia fans out there, and resorts to underhanded tactics, which earns him a slap in the face. This starts a strange and rocky relationship between two rival gamers.
Now, the thing is that Season 1 did not grab me for a couple of reasons. The art style I couldn't get past it. It was that hybrid CG and the faces were too wide.
It's very unique. It's like nothing we've seen before.
Yeah. Also, I felt like it relied way too heavily on using the nostalgia of retro gaming as a crutch to compensate for the lack of content that was in those first 3 episodes.
But that seems to have completely changed in the second one.
Yeah.
I mean, it is going for the nostalgia again, but this is set 5 years later in the distant past of 1996.
Yeah, and to be honest, I thought it looked good.
Yeah, they
I'm
are.
not going to lie, it does look good.
They're older now. They're teenagers. They've grown up, and
I do
The
feel
characters feel a lot more well-rounded and actual complete characters.
like they're still playing video games and stuff. They're still doing the nerdy thing, which is awesome. But
I do feel like I need to watch season 1 to really appreciate it.
well,
so
that's the thing. Now I want to watch season 1.
Yeah, there also seems to be more thought about the interactions between them. Obviously, like, when you think about it when you're 10 years old, interactions between boys and girls not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
As you get older into teens, those interactions start to change and mature and change because of puberty and several other things.
Absolutely.
And that was never, a part of the equation there. So it was just, 2 kids being angry at each other over video games.
Yeah, it's like he's angry at her because she's beating him. She's better than him at it, and she's a girl and a gamer. It's just like, no, this can't be. But
she's also like, the polar opposite of him. Good at school, good at socializing, all that. That latter part, I don't believe, considering her demeanor. But sure, why not? That's the way it's set up.
But it seems to also introduce another character who is from the first season, who presents a love triangle by the looks of things.
By the looks of it, yeah. So I do wonder how that's going to develop. We will have to go back and revisit this, I think. It's one of those that we'll just have to, during the Christmas break, just burn through it.
And that premieres October 26th, Saturday morning at 1:05 a.m. That's going to run for 9 episodes at 23 minutes each. Not many.
Which is weird. Like I thought we'd get 12 or 10, but 9?
That's a very interesting number.
Yeah, I mean, they are starting later in the season, so...
Maybe the manga finishes at around that point.
It might do. I wonder if that is the end of it, actually. That's a good question. That brings us on to another show from earlier this year, which has had its second core through. It's Kono Oto Tomare. This is a show about...
No, wait. Let me do it.
Okay.
Let me guess. It's a club at school.
Yes.
It's about to be closed down for lack of members.
Yeah.
And delinquents have taken over the club room.
Well, they did in season 1, and that's a cheat because you've seen it.
Oh, come on. We're going with the trope.
Still.
Okay, so...
So this club is for musicians of the koto.
Yeah, it's a traditional Japanese string instrument. Never heard of it before I saw the show. Looks very
I believe I have
interesting.
heard
Bit
it in
bombastic.
passing. But
So, since the graduation of the senior members of the club, Takezo ends up being the sole member of the Koto Club. With the new school year underway, Takezo will have to seek out new members for the club, or it will be terminated. With much prejudice, a new member suddenly barges into the club room demanding to join. Will he be able to keep his club alive and deal with this rascal of a new member? The answer is yes, because they
because
used
we're
that
in the
earlier.
second season.
We're in the
now.
second season, so yeah, clearly he did. This is interesting.
Look, I started watching it, and I just felt like it just really dived a little bit too much into the depressing stuff too early. It was a bit too fighty for me. They
It
was a
felt
bit like
they were
ang-
really trying to overdo the drama.
Yeah,
it
it
was
felt like-
really like
It felt like they were
mean.
really trying to amp up the drama for string instruments. I felt like that was.
Look, I stopped watching it because I was watching other stuff and I kind of meant to get back to it, but never did. So maybe I will, maybe I should. I don't know yet if I want to go back to try and give it another go.
I think it's a case that we have to watch the first half and see if it's okay. This is another one where it's a second core, so it was already desired that they were going to split the 24 episodes over 2 runs. I wonder if it will end here. It is from a manga, and the manga
Maybe the club
does
will
go a bit
actually
longer.
become disbanded.
No.
How about they do an anime about a club that actually does get disbanded because they don't manage to keep it, and then
I'm
they're
sure
like, you
there
know
is
what, we
one.
don't need school. We're just not going to join a club, but we're just going to find someone's garage and do our club activities there, and we're just going to be.
That sounds like most musician animes.
There's a whole
Yes.
there's a whole
Yeah,
culture
maybe.
around like joining a club in high school, which we don't get here in Australia. There's
No.
nothing like that.
It's just sports after school, and that was kind of it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Anyway, Kono Oto is on. You can watch it on Funimation and ADN. That's one of the French services. There's likely going to be 12 episodes based on the first season. Run for 23 minutes. Sunday mornings at 1 a.m. Drama, music, school, shonen, PG-13, Platinum Vision, manga. I'm just spitting words out now to make a good laugh. Anyway, moving right along. This next one, and I'm saying that a lot.
Yes, you are,
I
but
am.
you are saying what's next.
It is.
And what's next
It's
is
Seven
Nanatsu
Deadly
no
Sins.
Taizu.
Yes, Seven Deadly Sins season 3
Is in
because
fact both of those.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's Nanatsu no Taizu Kamigami no
No
Gekeren,
Gekeren.
which means something. I can't
Well,
remember.
but it's been loosely translated into Seven Deadly Sins, and this is season 3.
Well,
Um,
the first part is, but every season of the show has a different end bit.
The 7 Deadly Sins are actually a group of evil knights who conspired to overthrow the kingdom of Britannia. They were said to have been eradicated by the Holy Knights, but 10 years later, not 9 3/4,
10
10.
on the dot.
The Holy Knights have staged a coup d'etat and captured the king, becoming the new tyrannical rulers of the kingdom.
Oh no.
Elizabeth, the king's
What
third
the-
daughter, sets out on a journey to find the 7 deadly sins
Wait,
and to
Elizabeth?
enlist their help
Of
in
Britannia.
taking back the kingdom. Oh, okay. So the Holy
Yeah.
Knights have turned
The dark side.
turned dark. So now, but what if when she finds the 7 deadly sins, they're like, well, that sounds What if when she finds the 7 deadly sins, she says, like they say, look, this sounds perfect for us. I mean, we wanted to overthrow your kingdom anyway.
But it's just like, we
what-
wanted to overthrow it and rule it. Not these pansies in their armor.
Yeah, I
yes, they're
did wonder.
taking over.
Well, look, this is a show that is really anticipated by a very large segment of the anime fan base, but others won't like its style or approach. It's a
Yeah.
very different style of shonen.
Yeah, when I
anime.
when I watched the preview, the idea I sort of got was like, maybe I'm a bit late to this party. I don't really feel like I get it.
Well, it's the 3rd season.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
have watched like 5 episodes of the first season on Netflix, and it is the shonenest shonen that ever shonen. In fact, there is one bit it caught my eye, a clip on YouTube where like a bad guy has them all stopped with his power, but one of them, the heroes, can resist the power because he's that powerful.
Oh, this is the pride fight, isn't it?
Yes.
With a ridiculously overpowered man with a massive moustache.
Yes. Oh,
Oh.
I actually dig his whole aesthetic. He's just like, he looks like, he reminds me of Armstrong from Full Metal
Alchemist.
Alchemist
He's
Brotherhood.
brilliant.
But
Yeah.
he's also got this like great golden suit of armor and a giant axe. I dig the style, but
Maybe we need to give it a bit of a look. But
Yeah,
we
we'll have to
do-
track it
that,
down and have a
That's
look.
2 seasons we need to get through.
yeah, maybe I
Um,
guess just got to push through it.
Studio Dean is doing this one. Has its origins in manga. Rated PG-13. Runs for 20 minutes. Probably gonna be 24 episodes, but we're not sure yet.
But based on the prior 2 seasons, they both went for 24 episodes.
And this is probably the first time I've seen an airtime that isn't ridiculous o'clock. Wednesday, 5:55 p.m.
Well, the only other
Very
one which has
specific.
been that 5:30 was My Hero Academia in the afternoon.
So this is primetime stuff.
It's primetime stuff.
Okay.
But it's interesting that this is gonna. We don't actually know where this is gonna land yet. Well, it's got that October 9th premiere, and it's got the previous 2 seasons on Netflix. We don't actually know where this season's going to land because no one's put up their hand and said, yeah, we're doing it. So we'll find out this week, I guess. But that does bring us to one of the most surprise entries of this season. It's been this is a huge deal, this one. It kind of just appeared out of nowhere, which is Psycho Pass 3.
We keep dodging this one, and we really shouldn't.
We really shouldn't.
It's kind of a big deal in the anime community. It is mentioned in the same breaths as some of like big classics. So, summary. Justice and the enforcement of it has changed. In the 22nd century, Japan enforces the Sibyl system, an objective means of determining the threat level of each citizen by examining their mental state for signs of criminal intent, known as the Psycho Pass. Inspectors uphold the law by subjugating, often with lethal force, anyone harboring the slightest ill will. Alongside them are enforcers, jaded inspectors that have become latent criminals, granted relative freedom in exchange for carrying out the inspector's dirty work. Psycho Pass 3 follows 2 new rookies trying to understand the Sibyl system and seek the truth in the ever-changing world of Psycho Pass.
Now, this show has some amazing tech in it.
Oh yeah,
This is like standalone complex levels of stuff.
Oh yes,
It is
like
really
futuristic
How
as heck.
cool was that plane in the preview?
Oh,
My goodness.
So this is one of the big deals of this season. This is something that everyone's immediately went, wait, that's coming back? Because it's just had 3 films released. They're on coming out Blu-ray this month,
pretty much
I
back
believe.
to back.
Yeah. I mean, the films admittedly aren't like chronological in the story. They're stories of the characters in doing different things.
Yeah.
So you don't need to watch them to continue watching. But oddly, this season of Psycho Pass, every episode's 45 minutes.
Wow.
Practically like,
Look, I
movie
mean,
length-ish.
we've been meaning to start Psycho Pass for a while now.
For years.
We need to actually
to.
start it.
because this feels kind of like an important thing. It goes into the idea of thought crime. Are you guilty for thinking bad thoughts?
It kind of reminds me of Minority Report.
Yeah,
A little, yeah.
Say.
Yeah, but a bit more well thought out. Now, this is very cyberpunk-like and futuristic show, and a thoughtful twist. I think if you enjoy anything cyberpunky, if you are looking forward to Cyberpunk 2077, I think you'll like this.
Yes.
So I can recommend watching it. I'm pretty sure it's Amazon exclusive as well.
That's Amazon
really?
Prime exclusive. Airs Fridays at 1 a.m. Going to be 8 episodes running for 44 minutes each. So there's plenty there, even though it feels like there's not.
Yeah, I know, which is crazy because 44 minutes, 8 episodes. Technically that's double that. That's 16 episode season. So that's a decent amount.
Nice.
Right now, I did say I was going to bring this up on you, Kenny. And it's to do with this next one. Now, remember, a little earlier in the show, you said that if a person in a fantasy setting had a tie,
A Windsor not tie, like
you were not going to
businessman's
enjoy
tie.
it.
Yeah.
What if they had 2?
I don't follow.
How do you wear
Well,
two ties?
I don't know, but you might want to ask one of the main characters from Radiant, because season 2 of Radiant, the 3rd character from the review of the previous season is wearing 2 ties side by side, Windsor knot. Very strange.
Show me that
like
picture.
Is this like Tommy Wiseau wearing like 10 belts?
Yeah, same sort of thing.
Why
Does
is
it
he
look any
wearing 2
better?
ties?
I don't know. This is a very strange show, and I think we missed the boat on this previously,
Yep.
and I wonder how.
So obviously we're talking about a show called Radiant.
Now, Radiant is a magic fantasy adventure action shonen style show.
That man is riding a broomstick.
Yeah, he is. A collapsible broomstick, in fact. Now, Seth is an aspiring sorcerer from the Pompo Hills area. Like all wizards, he is infected, one of the few living beings who survived contact of the Nemesis, creatures who fell from the sky that contaminated and decimated all they touched. Being immune to them, Seth wants to become a hunter and fight them. But more than that, he wants to engage in a quest that goes beyond the simple hunt for the monsters. He wants to find the Radiant, their presumed cradle. Aided by a faction of fellow sorcerers, he travels the world in search of the Radiant under the harsh scrutiny of the Inquisition.
Interesting.
You'd never expect the magical Inquisition.
Right.
No! I was going to say this show is far too long for a kazoo not to appear.
Yep,
So
it was never going to
we
not
did miss
happen.
this show previously. It's very shonen. I will have to check out season 1 to see if it's for me. But ties.
Yes, and in this one he's wearing 2 bow ties.
Yep, it's a bit unusual. And then you've got other shots of him wearing 2, Windsor ties.
I want to see season 1. I felt like the preview was just like all the shonen are coming home to roost.
Yeah, pretty
I
much.
need to see how shonen this gets.
I think like everyone in the shonen community kind of got together, had a meeting, and said, "Look, there's just too many isekais going on around at the moment. We gotta put some things out there and just drown out their voices."
Let's see what comes up. Well, look, Radiant's second season, it's going to have 21 episodes. I believe it's every episode will be 23 minutes. It's going to be on Crunchyroll and Funimation as well. It hasn't had its full lineup listed, but it is from a manga. You can catch it on Wednesday nights at 7:25 Japanese time, and expect that to be out pretty much now, that first episode of the season. Right now.
Right as we're speaking.
Right as we're speaking, yeah.
Like
I mean,
just
today is not actually a Wednesday, but it'll be out.
It'll be there.
It'll be
we
there.
promise.
It does bring us to the last one of the recurrings of this season. It is a big one. It has been talked about at length on several occasions because this is one of the longest story arcs from the series light novels.
It is none other than Sword Art Online Alicization, War of Underworld.
Yes.
Now, the Soul Translator is a state-of-the-art full-dive interface which interacts with the user's Fluxlight, which is the technological equivalent of a human soul. The private institute Wrath aims to perfect their creation by enlisting the aid of Sword Art Online survivor Kazuto Kirigaya. He works there as a part-time employee to test the system's capabilities in the Underworld, which is the fantasy-like realm generated by the Soul Translator. One evening, however, Kazuto is attacked and wounded, and when he comes to, he discovers that he has made a full dive into the Underworld with seemingly no way to log out.
Things get messy from there.
Yes.
Now,
things happen.
Sword Art Online is kind of the darling of the anime community. You either love it or hate it.
Oh yeah.
It brought anime to a larger Western audience.
It really did.
And I'm pretty sure we can blame the popularity of the isekai genre on it.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Part of
it's
it.
It's got part, yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's in there.
Yeah, the swords.
Oh,
Wait,
yeah.
no, those were always part of Japanese culture. Oh well.
So there's been a very long arc this season past.
So essentially what happened is in the manga and the light novels, there's the first story arc, which is in Sword Art Online in Ironcrad. Then there's the fairy version, and then there's the Gun Gale Online, which is the gun MMO game that they get stuck in. Well, not stuck in, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, in the first few ones, though, they're playing MMO games. There are stakes involved, of course, but that's what's going on.
Yeah. Then the Alicization came along. Now, the first 2 seasons of this were 24 episodes each. The Alicization arc is 50. It doubles the length, and the same thing in the light novels. Light novels covered, I think, about 6 chapters or so up until this point, and Alicization then started and didn't end until like the 13th or 14th volume. It's a big deal in the story. It's got a lot of character development comparative to the prior story. It's meant to kind of like reshape the world the anime's in.
Yeah, it really does feel like it's changed like writers and directors from a cinematic kind of standpoint. It's the same characters and the same kind of deal. He's stuck in another video game, basically.
Yeah.
But it feels fundamentally different.
It feels a lot more real. Which is one of the things I've really enjoyed about it. The first half was
The passage of time, especially.
Exactly, yes.
the first half of it felt really well done. There were some scenes in it that did bring up questions with the censors. For obvious reasons. That also has happened in prior seasons because they do like to kind of do that initial shock value to show you how evil a certain person might be.
That's where
I think it
lost
might
me.
go a bit too hard though.
It went too far. It did not need to go that far to make its point. And that's why last season just lost me. Like, I was like, oh, this is good. No. Like, I feel like it's a little bit too fan servicey in the wrong ways.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it can
is.
be.
It can be, and a lot of these people are quite young.
Yeah,
So I don't feel like there's any excuse for it. So honestly, like it's sad because it's got such a good story.
But occasionally it just
it
pushes
just
the
kind of goes a
envelope.
bit
It's out of-
too off the
and
ledge.
it's like why did that even come into it? You know why? Yeah. Anyway,
Like the whole thing about it is it's supposed to show the darker nature of humanity when it's put in these weirder situations. Like what is
Yeah.
it? The jail experiment thing. I forget what it's called, but it's the whole idea is like, what if you lock all these people in jail
Oh,
and make
yeah.
some of them the wardens?
Yes, I do remember seeing something about that recently. Actually,
yeah, that's right.
I think there was something like that going on in the first one. Like all these people are stuck in a game. They should be going crazy, and you get to see some of that occasionally.
yeah. And I mean, in the second one, it shows you the abuse of power.
Yeah.
And you know how that can control it. This
I-
one, I just kind of feel like all it was showing was something that was already established.
Yeah, and I feel like the story arc was a little bit too it wasn't steep enough, which is why seeing the preview for this season, I feel like it has the power to kind of redeem itself a little bit because Alice is taking center stage.
I do want to see Alice kicking ass, and
Yeah.
I really hope they don't just kind of cheapen it by trying to shove Asuna in there somewhere.
Or by making her opponent a
Yeah.
naked person.
Again.
Yeah. Oh, that. Yeah. That. I wasn't talking about that. I was talking
I
about
know, I know.
the other one.
Yeah, no,
so
I know.
there's
I know.
two bad strikes there.
No, there's a few.
Anyway, Sword Art Alicization, War of the Underworld. You can catch it on Anime Lab, Funimation, and Wakanim. It'll probably be on more places again as well later. October 12th premiere, Saturday nights at midnight. It's running for 24 episodes, A1 Pictures, action, adventure, fantasy, video games, and romance. I don't know why the romance is in there for this season, but it's there. Apparently.
It's more of a bromance.
Oh, there's so many things I could say knowing what happens at the end of that first season, which is just like, no, it is not. Anyway, we need to get on to the last 3 shows from last season, which are continuing over. Now, these are obviously shows different from long-running series that we've got out there, like One Piece and all that.
They're quite well established in their own right.
They are, and they all, because of that, they have quite a lot of streaming options for you to play catch-up on. The first one, we can actually give you a lovely audio introduction for.
Ohayo sekai, good morning, whoa.
And I'm going to stop that right there so we do not get copyright striked again.
Romy,
because-
you're too good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Romy's covers are too good. We are still
It's
struggling,
a problem
actually.
for us.
It is. We are still struggling to get the previous episode fully approved on YouTube because they keep going, no, that is the original. No, it's not. Here's the audio file we used.
I kind of almost consider it a badge of honor at this point.
How did he get his cover onto YouTube?
I don't know.
How many
I
times
don't know.
did he have to try, I wonder?
I think he doesn't worry about it too much. He just makes sure that it can actually be shown. The issue we had is that the copyright strike was preventing the whole 2-hour episode from going up. So that's not helpful. Thanks, YouTube, for your automated algorithm. It just works. Anyway,
It does not.
Dr. Stone.
So, storyline for everyone playing catch up. All of humanity, just one day, just because, is suddenly petrified in a blinding flash of light, all turned to stone, in and out. After several millennia, high schooler Taiji awakens to find himself lost in a world of statues and greenery. However, he's not alone. His science-loving friend Senku has been up and running for the last few months, and he's got a grand plan in mind to kickstart civilization with the power of science.
Oh, my mind's just went to really silly places with this, and it's just a sign of that I need more caffeine. But it's like, I'm just imagining an AMV hell that we could do for the opening scene, and, they get turned into stone. It's like, oh, dude, I am so stoned. This show is hands down one of my favorite from last
It's
season.
so
I did
good.
mention it last episode. And Dr. Stone is just, it's a show, okay, it's shonen, but it's well written, it's well thought out, and it's so accurate on the science that they tell you, please do not try this at home. It may be illegal.
Yeah, it tells you how to make wine using Stone Age materials. Thank you, Dr. Stone.
Thank you.
And ramen.
And
Let's not
ramen.
forget the ramen.
Oh, yeah, that ugh. Like just knowing what he's used.
I would like to try
I'd
it.
like to try it, but I think you'd be very disappointed.
Maybe that can be one of the recipes that
No,
you guys
that'll be
make for
making
me.
My
to
philosophy
judge.
for food has always been to
I
try
will mute
everything
you
twice.
again. I will mute you again. Moving right
My
on.
philosophy for food has been always to try everything twice because always someone always cooks it better. I would try it.
Yeah, I tried.
The
Is it foxtail millet
Yes,
ramen? it
that's
was?
right.
Yeah. So look, we've gotten to a point in the show where things are starting to move along slow, steadily. We're gaining traction. We know we've got about 12 episodes left for them to burn through. The question is really going to be what they can accomplish in these next 12 episodes, because there's an idea that's been placed in there since the beginning that, he's working towards making, getting to a futuristic sort of level of tech very quickly. Which we know is not reasonable based on the equipment he has. And we're now going through the process of him making what's referred to as a sulfur-based antibiotic. If you watch the series, you'll know why he's making that. And that's had maybe about 5 episodes worth of build-up.
Well, that's the thing, though. To make this thing, he has to invent all these other details and gather these rare materials which could never have been conceived of in the Stone Age. Like, he gets the means for creating iron. He gets sulfuric acid. He gets, all of these things together.
And we get an educate.
We do get an
we
educate.
get an educate.
Thank you, Boy Scouts of America. No, that's not what this is
Thank
at
you,
all.
Boy Scouts of Japan? I
Yeah,
don't know.
Boy Scouts of Japan.
Is that a thing?
Senku Scouts of Japan. Let's
Thank
go
you,
with-
Scouts. Make
I
it
will
a thing.
join them. You can catch Dr. Stone, I think, what night was it on now? It's
These are on Friday nights
That's
at
right.
10 p.m. 24 episodes running for 23 minutes. You can watch that on Anime Lab, Bilibili, Crunchyroll, Funimation, Hulu Japan. Oh wait, no, that's actually
That's it? Oh, that's a bit... Oh, actually, no, I think it's the next one, which is a very big list.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Oh whoa. Yes,
Yeah,
you are
yeah,
right.
yeah.
And that is, of course,
Fire Force.
Now, this is one that I initially was like, nah. And I was so wrong, and I'm glad I was, because I love this show so much.
It is more shonen than the last shonen.
It really is. So Fire Force is about a special fire brigade who are fighting a phenomenon called spontaneous human combustion, where human beings are turned into living infernos called infernals. Shinra Kusakabe, a youth who has the ability to ignite his feet at will, and he shoots around
He's
on
a
him.
real-life rocket man.
Yeah, he is. Joins the Special Fire Force Company 8, working to extinguish any infernals they encounter. As a faction creating infernals appears, Shira begins to uncover the truth behind a mysterious fire that caused the death of his family 12 years ago.
Now, this show's first episode kind of is a bit off,
Really?
if you recall. It was one of the reasons why I was a bit like, I'm not sure I want to watch this. And as soon as you get past it, I found it was fine. Like, it was great, actually. That initial setup just felt a little bit, I don't know. I don't know if it's because
I'd like to see what you're talking about. We may need to watch it
We might
again.
have to watch that first episode again. Maybe it was just the perception I had at the time, but I found it really difficult to get attached to the characters in that first episode. The second episode, straight away, I latched on. But for some reason, I
Well,
really struggled
the
with that
first episode, they throw you right into it,
Yeah.
into the thick of the action.
They do. I mean, I don't remember why I didn't want to watch it.
We may need to study this.
Yeah, we might.
Mm.
But I can let you know that 12 episodes in, they've handled the content brilliantly.
And there has been no filler.
No. There's also been a point that I need to make as well, that this aired during the time when a certain incident happened in Japan,
Oh.
and they purposefully didn't air the show. They said, out of respect, we are not going to air the show because of the fire that
For
occurred.
how long?
Or for a week. They then proceeded to recolor the color of the flames for the preceding broadcasts so that it wouldn't remind people of what had happened.
Oh.
Wow, that is
That's
really,
really
gracious.
thoughtful. That's really
That's- y- y-
thoughtful.
You know, that's really nice. Like some people.
Yeah, some people would not do
Some people
that.
would be like, snowflakes. You'd put up with it. Or something.
Yeah, they don't have that attitude in Japan, which is really nice.
Really, yeah, it's refreshing.
But
isn't
look,
Nice place.
I can highly recommend watching Fire Force. It is on a mini hiatus for like 2 weeks.
it?
It's like it ticks all the boxes for shonen. Every character that's shown has a unique take on the kind of ability structure. Everyone's got their
Yeah.
own sort of like quirk, their own superpower, their own. They are their own superhero in this world. But
Yeah.
this handles it in a really creative way. And
If memory serves me right, I'm pretty sure Coco didn't like the Catgirl character initially, and then
No.
you kind of got over it.
Yeah, a bit. I have a bit. I was just like, another
She's-
cat girl.
she's a mascot, yeah.
It's because, I mean, you guys never see, I mean, you do see wolfmen,
Mm.
whatever, but it's a bit different to sort of see girl after girl churned out with
Yeah,
cat
it's-
ears.
It's
and
kind
a,
of
and a
the
tail.
species
It's not-
divide, isn't it? Where it's like whenever there's a demon species shown, the demon men look like these big muscular horror monsters. The demon women are scantily clad women with small
Yeah.
horns.
Yeah.
It's not nice to be reminded of that, to be honest, and that's why I'm still, a bit on the fence about it. I'd much prefer.
What
if
about
she had-
Mackie then?
Mackie?
Mackie, she's the other firefighting pyrokinetic, the one who's the witch.
Yeah,
She's
Oh, yeah.
cool.
The
yeah. She
ultra
does.
buff,
She's not a
yes.
cat girl.
No, well, it's because it's the
So-
Catgirl, is it?
Honestly, yeah, I'm a bit over it, to be honest. But I like everything else about it.
Okay.
I do.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So yeah, it's David Productions. That's the studio.
They were behind Soul Eater as well, weren't they?
Yes,
Which
they
is
were.
the same art style and production
Mm-hmm.
team for this, I believe.
Yep. Airs on Saturdays at 1:25 a.m.
Which is pretty early. What can we watch it on?
We can watch it on Amazon Prime, ADN, Anime Lab, Anna Plus, Bilibili, Crunchyroll, Funimation, Hulu Japan, Netflix in some areas only, and Wakanim. That is 1, 2, 3, 4.
It's pretty much, if you're watching us on YouTube, I
10
imagine that's
ways to watch
almost
this.
all of our lights lit up at the bottom. And that takes us to the last of the trio following over. And
Certainly not the
Oh,
least.
this is amazing.
now,
This
I'm
one.
going to be honest. I think this is a rare occasion where everything which is considered a leftover from last season and is continuing through is good.
Oh,
Like, I don't think we've seen this quality, this caliber of content lasting across 2 seasons in a while.
Vinland Saga.
Now, if you don't know what Vinland Saga is, boy, have I got a story to tell you.
Get on it.
So, as a child, Thorfinn was thrilled by tales of a land far to the west, by his youthful fantasies were shattered by a Viking raid. Raised by the Vikings who murdered his family, Thorfinn becomes a terrifying warrior, forever seeking to kill the band's leader, Askeladd, and avenge his father. Sustaining Thorfinn through his ordeal are his pride in his family and his dream of a fertile westward land, a land without war or slavery, the land called Vinland. Or as we call it, Canada.
Yes, this
Oh,
is like
Canada.
like if you don't know much about Viking history, if you don't know much about the history of the world at that time in that place, this is just like a fantastic story with engaging characters. If you do know a little of the history of that, every time they mention like a big name personality, you practically jump in your seat because you know stuff's about to go down.
Now, one thing I will say about the synopsis, it has, like, this is the synopsis we were given when this first aired, and it is wrong by a couple of spots, because it wasn't a Viking raid that killed his dad. He went out with his dad sailing and then got done by mercenaries.
Yeah, ambushed.
But other than that, it's kind of about right.
Yeah.
And to be honest, the way Thorfinn's grown, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
And despite everything that he's become, his philosophy has remained what his father taught him.
Well, it took him a while to get back into that state of mind, though, didn't it?
Because, yeah, that is the thing that a lot of animes have been missing. And it is the center, just heart of this show is the character progression. Watching Thorfinn change from this wide-eyed, scruffy-haired little kid into this dead-eyed, cold, yet still somehow hopeful individual.
And it's great to see some of the silly stunts they pull as well. Like, is that a dragon? No, it's not a dragon. It's just the head of a ship. Why is it on a hill?
Because the Vikings are running it towards a small town.
I love the character of Askeladd.
To be honest, like,
Oh my
Askeladd,
goodness, I don't
even
know
though
what it
he's
is,
meant
it's
to be
just-
the villain, he's just such a cool dude.
He's such an evil, conniving guy, but you can't help but like him. He's got style.
He does.
It's something practically almost Shakespearean about him.
Yeah.
it's you watch him, you know he is the bad guy, but you even want to see him succeed somehow.
I know, which is really
Yeah.
odd. It's kind of that sort of. I would almost call it the vibe you get from Breaking Bad.
Yes, yeah.
I'm at the point where when they do their duels,
You don't want him
I
to.
don't want him to
possibly
go
lose.
down.
Yeah.
No.
I feel like it mightn't end that way because of, what Thorfinn's father's instilled in him and him becoming more in touch with it. So I'm
Yeah.
hoping that maybe it'll be a point like, you're not worth killing to me
Maybe.
or something
And
like that.
if you guys know much about Viking culture, that is both like a mercy and the ultimate insult to a
I
warrior.
know, right? Which is crazy.
The whole thing about their culture is that in order to enter the Hall of Heroes in Asgard, they must die in glorious battle. They must die doing something brave and
An
heroic
honourable
and
death.
bloodthirsty. If they die of old age or if they're just left,
what,
they don't get
what
it.
did they call it in Norseman? The Attestup?
Stoop.
Just, I'm going to throw myself off his place to save my family. It will be very nice.
It's like, but
Oh.
I'm only 47.
It's not that old.
Not that old.
Not that old. Anyway, Vinland Saga, action, historical, adventure drama. It's made by Wit Studios. You'll recognise them from Attack on Titan and Dororo.
That was
No,
absolutely.
Did they do Dororo?
They did
I
Dororo.
know
No, Mappa
Mappa did
Dororo.
Dororo.
Dororo has the same like motorbike starting thing
Yes.
that Wit Studio does.
Yeah, but Mappa sometimes do stuff with the motorbike stuff. It's a secondary studio underneath them. It's not
I'm
Mappa's
pretty
intro.
sure Mappa was the one in charge of Dororo.
Mappa
Wit
was definitely in charge
have
of
been
Dororo.
in charge of Erased, I think.
Yeah, I'm going to need to look this up
No,
later.
they weren't
I've
erased.
become bamboozled.
So Wit Studios has done a
We
lot
know
of
nothing.
very, very odd ones. It's done Attack on Titan. It's done Iron
Carabineri of the Iron
Cabaneri the
Fortress.
Iron
That's
Fortress.
the one.
I believe it did After the Rain, which was
Yes,
just like
they did.
okay,
What?
That's
yeah.
right. They
There's a couple of
did.
other sort of nice, happy, romantic ones, and then they've brought out Vinland Saga.
Yeah, I feel like Vinland Saga has a lot coming from Attack on Titan.
It
There's
does.
the same kind of hopelessness, but hopefulness. Like
Yeah.
tears and the agony. It's wonderful.
The thing, both this and Attack on Titan are written in completely different manga outlets in Japan. Different writers don't even know each other. It's just conveniently through the same studio.
It's
I know,
crazy.
but it maybe this is the type of thing that we look for when they go to hunt down a manga to adapt. They go, we want something which really has a punch, which is going to, literally like a gut shot that makes you go, oh wow, what was that?
And it does.
It does. It really does. All their shows do. I'm a big fan of Wit Studios now. But yeah, you can catch it on Amazon, and if you're in China, it's Bilibili only because Amazon is not present in China. And that is on Mondays.
Awesome.
I don't know what time because it's Amazon and they just put it up whenever they feel
And
like it.
it's-
24 episodes. We're halfway through. 25 minutes a pot. It is quite violent. They suggest MA15 as the main one.
Yes, can
Um,
confirm.
Now,
Quite
this
violent.
does bring us to the usual suspects. It's a quick update on where some of these long-running ones are at. Black Clover just hit past episode 102. Bruto's just clipped past 125. Detective Conan just past 955 episodes.
Where do you start with that?
You don't. Fairy Tale has ended
Wow.
this
Oh.
this week. Episode 51 of the final story
No,
ended.
actually, I did hear about this. A lot of people are like pretty sad about that. you know.
Yeah, it's a big deal as well. And One Piece has just passed episode 903. Very quickly closing in on Detective Conan. That then brings us to some notable OVAs coming out. There's Bokuben We Can't Study is actually
Wonderful.
getting an OVA.
Oh, cool.
I don't know when that comes out. I think it might come out with the previous season's Blu-rays.
We'll have to monitor it.
Golden Kamuy Season 2's OVA is coming out as well.
We need to play catch up with
We
that as
do.
well.
Oh my
That's got a
gosh,
season
yes.
3 coming. Mob Psycho 100 has its OVAs coming. Another one we have to play catch up on.
We really do.
One Punch Man Season 2 specials.
Which we don't have to play
we don't have to play catch
on.
up on that. ReZero, nope.
No.
And a certain scientific accelerator is getting a OVA as well. Now,
Wicked.
don't be wrong. ReZero is a work of art.
Nope.
But I cannot go through that
no,
again.
No.
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 Anyway, we'll be... we
Our
do-
psychiatrists will be very rich if we attempt it ever again.
They certainly will. That brings us to the notable movies. And we're starting off with one which is actually, you can watch right now on
Yes.
Crunchyroll.
It is called Black Fox. And it's
Wow.
a genre. And it's an action.
it's a
It's an
genre.
action genre.
Genre.
Living in a ninja residence tucked away in a corner of a futuristic city is Rika, the eldest daughter of a ninja clan who looks up to her father, a researcher, very much. Carrying on with her life normally, Rika's home comes suddenly under attack one day. Driven into a corner, what could she do to overcome this crisis?
Become a ninja.
Rip darkness to pieces and become...
Or that.
All that. As soon as I saw this, I went,
This
is
is
she a ninja and a journalist? She's not.
See, I
She's
felt
not.
like this is similar to the Oren Ishii origin story in
Kill Bill?
Kill Bill.
Yeah, it does have a bit of a feel to that.
Yeah.
It is out on Crunchyroll right now. As of next week, you can watch it for free.
This looks like what?
Yep, that's a pretty big deal.
Runs 1 hour 40.
Mm-hmm.
I was
Looks
going to
good.
say this looks like it's going to be great. The visual style is just incredible. The way the characters just move.
It's going to be. It's done by Studio 3 Hertz, who their other stuff that they did coming up this season is not great, but this is good.
Yeah,
This looks great.
I look at this. It's going to be a great movie. I reckon it could have also made a great series.
Well, that's what everyone's asking. They're going, is this going to now be a series?
Please,
Like,
please and thank
use
you.
This, apparently, the way it finishes, it sets it up that there is opportunities for more stuff. But, you know, just like with every anime, whether they take that opportunity is another matter altogether. If Crunchyroll have been involved in producing it, which I believe they were, which is why they've had that exclusive preview, right? Then, you know, it shouldn't be a problem. They'll just be like, yeah, we'll have more of that, thanks. It's got X many subscribers in for us. We'll love it. But, look, if you want to watch it, jump on a Crunchyroll. Pretty much anywhere in the world, they've got exclusive on this. I'm pretty sure they co-produced it, so you can't get it anywhere else. Except maybe in China, and then it's Billy again, so who knows. But, look, check it out. We'll definitely be watching it this week because that looks amazing.
It do.
Next up, Boku no Hero Academy, the movie 2, Heroes Rising.
Now, this is the second Boku no Hero, My Hero Academia film. The first one was incredible.
Oh, it was
It was great.
fantastic. Watching Midoriya and All Might fighting together.
I know.
Ah.
Oh, that was amazing.
Oh,
That punch.
So,
Was it-
summary. This story takes place on a cold winter's night where the snow continues to fall. Shigekari Togu...
it's the villain who's in charge of the
Ah.
evil League of Villains.
Tongue twister. What are words? Plans to destroy all of Hero Society as the leader of the League of Villains. Prior to this, a battle between heroes unfolds without anyone knowing. Something quietly wakes up and leaves the area. During that time, Deku and the other students of the UA Academy Class 1A are told by the retired number 1 hero All Might that they will be part of a project to raise the next generation of heroes and are sent to do hero work for a short time on the warm islands south of Japan.
Okay, this sounds very similar to the first movie that we're going to an island. It's going to be fun.
Kind of reminds me a lot of Pokemon. It's just like, we're going to a completely new island, a completely new region. Some weird stuff's going on there.
This is going to be out on December 19/20 in Japan, depending on the cinemas. Runs for about an hour and a half, so same sort of thing as the previous one. Action sci-fi, PG-13, Bones, once again on board doing it. I'm pretty hyped.
More superhero insanity. I'm all for it. Just gimme.
Also, what the creator of the series also has said is that this show, this film, has a fight sequence he wanted to do with Midoriya and Bakugo, which would be the type of fight sequence he would end the series with. It's that sort of epic level of fight with them, coordinating together. This isn't by any means the end, but the fact that he has already gotten to the point and he goes, I know how I want this to end, says a lot.
All I can think back to is the finale of Naruto Shippuden.
See, we haven't got that far.
Oh, you guys
We
haven't?
have not got to the end.
Oh, get on that.
We need to watch that fight. We're in the middle. I think last thing you and I watched was the Great Ninja War.
No, yeah, we haven't even gotten that far into it either.
Yeah, we got in the start of the Great Ninja War.
Yeah.
But basically where Gaara was there and like, you all my boys now.
You're all mine.
So look, this is going to be coming out midway through season 4, we expect, because season 4 is meant to be 24 episodes.
Promising a fight like that, I can't wait.
As I said, cinemas December 19 in Japan. We'll see when that ends up over here. Hopefully it's a New Year's present for us. That'd be pretty nice.
That would be awesome.
Now, we need to talk about Hello World, which, immediately makes me go,
Ohayo sekai, good morning, wow.
even though this has absolutely nothing to do with Dr. Stone
And that's another copyright
or
strike.
Breakout, guys.
Yeah.
This
We're in trouble.
is, I'm actually quite intrigued by this. So it's essentially a guy travels back in time from the year 2027 by 10 years to help his younger self correct a bad decision which results in a girl's death.
Ooh.
What makes me really intrigued by this? I mean, don't be wrong, I already love the idea that it's a sci-fi story, time travel. That's kind of my thing. It's got 3 OVAs.
Whoa.
There's one set before it and 2 set after it. And I'm wondering how this works, because I know the first OVA is about what's happening in the future before the guy travels back in time.
I mean, if we're talking about time travel, the 2 that follow after could be alternate endings.
Exactly.
Ooh.
So I'm pretty excited.
I don't like doing time travel anymore.
So that has been in Japanese cinemas since September 19th. We haven't got an official release date for over here, but it's very incredibly animated. We're talking like Makoto Shinkai levels of pretty. So once that does get out here, we need to have a look at it. I believe it's getting shown at a couple of anime festivals in the States in the coming weeks. So
hope
we should hear a bit more about it after that. Which does bring us to Human Lost. And we've been keeping an eye on this. A
This
tiny
looks
little eye on
real
this.
Cool.
This has Blame kind of vibes coming right off it. It's just, it looks
It
heavy.
looks
The
good.
year is 2036. A revolution in medical treatment has conquered death by means of internal nanomachines and the shell system. Yet only the riches can afford to partake.
Yay, class system.
Yozo Oba isn't the richest. Troubled by strange dreams, he flippantly joins his friend's biker gang on an ill-fated incursion to the inside, where society's elite lives. This instigates a journey of terrifying discovery that will change Yozo's life forever. Is this what's that Matt Damon film? where like he's Elysium. This is Elysium. Is this Elysium crossed with Akira?
A little bit.
Actually,
I
now
mean,
that you've
it's-
said that,
It's a motorcycle
yeah.
gang. The second you said that, all I could think about was the first 20 minutes of Akira.
Amazing.
I'm looking forward to this. We mentioned it last season, but it hasn't had a release.
The
in this
visuals
time.
look just
Yeah.
intense.
It is getting released in the US this month. It's meant to be
yeah.
a US release before it's even released in Japan because
Wow.
of the
Wow.
people who funded it.
Who funded it?
I'm not sure. I think it's to do with either Crunchyroll or Funimation.
Okay.
But
It
it's
looks like
Polygon
it's-
Pictures in
Looks
there.
like it's set for October 21st.
Yes, that's the premiere at the Anime Festival in California.
Wicked.
Yeah. I really want to see this. This kind of
likewise.
reminds me of, now that you've said it, I can't unsee the Elysium links.
Yeah.
That's it's Elysium, Akira, and it's mixed with, I'm trying to remember the Arnie Schwarzenegger one with the clones.
The Sixth Day.
Sixth
Yeah,
Day, yeah.
sort of Sixth Day, where it's like, what is human anymore? You know, that
Yeah.
sort of question is brought up a lot, and I can't wait for this. I'm very
Likewise.
psyched.
I love those kind of psychological
You're
trips
gonna have to
and
make a
questions
movie
about
night of
reality.
it.
It does bring us to another one, which is also this isn't a sci-fi one though.
No, this is kind of a lo-fi one.
Yeah, it's called Boku no Nanokakan Sensao, or Our 7-Day War. This we kind of didn't even know about, and then it just came out of left field, and it looks amazing.
When I first heard the title, I thought, it's kind of like that Summer Wars movie. I don't know if
Yeah.
I got you guys to sit down and watch that.
No,
yet.
it's still on our watch list.
Aha.
Yeah.
Okay, so get a load of this story. On a day just before summer vacation, 10th grader Mamoru finds out his neighbor Aya, the girl he has had a long-standing crush on, is moving away soon and suggests to her that they run away from home for a week to celebrate her 17th birthday. They're joined by their classmates. They shut themselves up in a former coal factory, weird place for it, where they end up rescuing a little boy named Mallet, an illegal resident from Thailand escaping from the immigration officers and looking for his parents. Now that their 7 days war breaks out, will their teamwork and strategies fight off the officers and the parents who come to get them?
Well, I do wonder.
I mean, it's got a bit of a... I don't want to say Home Alone, but it's got a similar kind of energy to it. It's like these authority figures are coming to get their new friend and take them away and stuff
Or
like
is it
that.
more Little Rascals?
I don't know. Oh, that's going back.
That's
a
going
way.
back a bit, but if you think about it, causing problem, going against the authority. We're going to do our own thing. I like the look of this a lot.
Yeah, it looks heavy. I mean, this
Yeah.
goes into the whole issue of immigration. It's the whole coming of age thing and letting go of a past relationship.
Its art style is a very mid-2000s style, and it's amazing artwork and environments. Like, you can see there's been a lot of care taken for the lighting, for all the scenery, even the close-up shots where they're, like you can see them playing with like a tin can or something. The level of detail is immense.
There was just a bit in the trailer where like some sunlight caught off a puddle, and I was immediately back watching
Weathering with You?
Weathering with You.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, yeah, you have my attention.
We better get an international of
To be
this.
honest, all films so far just look stunning.
They do.
And I can't wait to see them.
We are actually very lucky because the next 6 months of films out of Japan is just incredible.
Now, this has a December 12th release date. That'll be a nice Christmas present, I think.
Yeah, if we get it in time.
Yeah.
This then brings us to I'm not too sure on how to start talking about this one.
I'll give it a go.
I'm a male model.
Male model. Kimi dake ni Motetainda, which means I want to be popular just to you.
Seems to
Am
be
I
a male
popular
modeling
with
contest.
you guys?
You're pretty popular.
Well,
you're
that's
cool.
all that matters to me.
We could make you our idols.
If you want to, that sounds like a lot of effort.
It does
but
sound
sure.
like that. Let's not do that.
So
My art
this
is not good.
a drama school slice of life. It's a story about youth. It focuses on a group of 5 handsome high school boys who each have traits that bring them down. Through certain events, they are led by a girl on their quest to win the Motetainda Koshien, Handsome Men at Koshien contest. Is this another reverse harem?
Reverse harem.
I feel like it might be, but here was my initial
It's not a
thoughts.
bad
We
thing.
are so sexy. Oh wait,
Oh yeah.
what's happened to the animation? Everything looks like it's coated in honey.
Yeah.
Who's making this again? Honeyworks.
Oh yeah.
Seriously,
they
yeah, I
are.
do
everything
remember-
I've seen by them, they've taken a big brush full of yellow honey and spread
Yeah,
it over
I'm
it.
not sure how I.
I do remember you saying that in the trailer. You were like, "Man, everything looks like it's been smeared with honey." From the director of Honeyworks. It's just like, what the?
Yep, it came out of nowhere, and I mean, this also I want to give a go too. It's just the way their lips
Yeah, it's
look
a bit.
is a bit. I don't know. I've seen you know though that there are certain games
Yeah.
where they have the characters drawn that way, and it just gives me the heebs.
Oh, it
But-
doesn't. That's fair. That's fair.
But I'm gonna give this a go anyway. I don't
When's it
mind. October 24th.
Oh, right, so this month. Wow.
Unknown
So-
rating yet. So yeah, we will have to find out.
Which is kind of the problem with a lot of the ones at the moment that are coming out. We don't know what they're going to be. And
It's all a surprise,
it's
isn't it?
exciting. Yes. I'm also quite keen on this one here. That's another time travel hijinks.
Why are there so many time travel anime movies?
It's because they love me. And they know I love my time travel.
I
Love,
hate time
love
travel. Don't
me.
try it.
Timey-wimey fun
Bad
stuff.
things happen.
That's debatable.
So, we are talking about
They tend
Sora
to.
no Asa wa Shiru Hito yo, or Her Blue Sky.
Such a short change in name, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I feel like there's something lost in translation.
Yeah, I definitely feel like there is.
So, summary. This is set in the same Chichibu city as a 2001 series, Anohana, The Flowers We Saw That Day. I think I remember that one a little bit. Story follows 2 sisters, Akane and Aoi, who have lived together since their parents' passing 13 years ago. One day, older sister Akane's ex-boyfriend, Shinosuke Kanemuro, now 31, visits the city to perform at a festival. At the same time, the 18-year-old Shinosuke from 13 years ago time travels to the present while Aoi starts falling in love with the 18-year-old Shinosuke. Akane and the 31-year-old Shinosuke finally reunite.
Essentially, it's
This
Look.
sounds like a love triangle.
it's a love triangle
time.
across time. I really like the look of this. There's a lot of people using musical instruments in it as well, and that's making me pretty interested to see what they're going to actually do with it.
Yeah, it's like got the whole they're in a band thing, like they're creative and driven, stuff like that, but then suddenly time travel. Why is he traveling there? What's going on?
Is it even him? That's another
Ooh.
question as well.
Oh.
It's beautifully animated. There's a lot of attention to detail, just like several of the others we've talked about, especially on the instruments. This is sort of like the same as Carol and Tuesday, where there's that very strong attention paid to the instruments.
Ooh, and Given as well, yes.
Yeah. Time travel hijinks, according to the synopsis, but it looks to be filled with a lot of great drama and character interactions, and I'm really keen
Yep.
on this.
So am I. I want to give it a watch, but not as much as I want to give
The next one to watch.
the next one a watch.
Oh.
Before we get to that,
baby.
Her Blue Sky by Cloverworks, October 11th release in Japan. Hopefully should know more
Stop
in
reading
the
ahead,
coming
Coco.
weeks. Which brings us to the big one. The one that like, don't get me wrong, I want to see almost every single one we've talked about so far in the movie section for this next quarter.
Yeah.
But this is the one that if I had to pick one, this is the one I'd watch. Lupin III, the first CG entry in the Lupin franchise, focusing on a story where Lupin teams up with a woman called Letitia to steal the Bresson Diary, a treasure that even the first generation Arsene Lupin could never steal.
Now, we talked about this earlier. We dropped the trailer on our Facebook group, and what more can we say? It looks so good.
This is amazing. I will happily sit here and talk about Lupin for hours. I know we need to finish up, but I would talk for hours.
This looks amazing.
The
like
character
what you said,
designs, the lighting, the music.
the fact that they turned 2D into 3D and nailed it.
And it doesn't look Uncanny Valley-like.
I am marching down to Luna and demanding that they host it.
I know,
they
right?
have to. Surely
It's
they
out
would.
on December 6th. It's by TMS, which is the team behind all the Lupin stuff, as well as Marza Animation Planet. I suspect they're the team that's helped out with the 3D animation.
We're going to have to
CG.
take a look at their filmography.
We definitely
I
will.
suspect they've got like some good stuff to show.
I think I'm going to go back and watch some of the old Lupin films now and the series. I managed to track down the old the 200 odd episodes of season 2.
Oh, Get Out, really?
There's some very interesting stuff in there. I'm not going to lie.
How many times is Lupin just in his undies again?
Oh, that's like every episode. That's no surprise. But I'm surprised that they actually kept that for this 3D adaptation.
Yes, that appeared in the trailer as well.
It's great.
Yes.
Wonderful.
But it is about time for us to finish because we've kept you for long enough. I did not expect this episode to go so long, so let's get on out.
Kawaii-Fi Radio.
That's all the time we have. We have covered everything we can from this season. Thank you so much for sticking with us through part
yes,
2.
thank you very much.
I need
It's
a
been
drink.
a slug, but we got there in the end.
I mean, on the bright side, it means that there is so much stuff we can watch this season that we're
Absolutely.
spoilt for choice.
I'm not watching it all. You can't make me.
I'm not going to.
And so Halloween is coming, and that means we'll be looking at animes that embrace the supernatural and the occult, and we will think about doing something. We'll
we
see
will.
about what
we
that will be.
Now, I mean, there's plenty out there as well.
Oh, absolutely. If we're going with the spooky theme, we're going with Soul Eater, Another, Tokyo Ghoul, Parasite. These ones immediately come to mind.
Oh, there's
and
plenty
you'll-
more too.
You'll have to wait out to find what ones we pick for the episode.
Absolutely.
And don't forget to head over to our Facebook page for breaking anime news and videos.
You've been listening to Kawaii-Fi Radio. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time with episode 20. And of course, more Kawaii-Fi Quest.
Thank you very much for tuning in, and until next time,
Watch
some
some anime!
anime!
Catch you next time.
bye now.
Ta-
Bye.